Hello, this is the Creative Narratives and my name is Yara Monteiro Gaspar, and in today's video I'm gonna talk about Disney's live-action adaptation Cinderella from 2015 and why, in my opinion, these live-actions works better than most other live-actions from Disney. Remember, just my opinion, and warning, this video might contain spoilers. So the first thing I want to talk about this movie is I love the world building, I love the ambience, I love the movie, I love the colors, I love the costumes. It just feels like a fairy tale. You know, it looks like it just came out of a book. It's great. It's beautiful. I love it. Some people might think it's exaggerating, but I love it. Point that for me make this movie among other Disney live actions. It stands out because it is an independent story. The other live actions, it usually needs the original one to make sense, but it's one of the live actions that it is an independent story. It doesn't need the original, but it does make an homage to the original. It is faithful to the original, but it's still independent. You don't need to watch the 50s version of Cinderella to make sense of this movie. And it can be very complicated to please old fans at the same time, and at the same time create something for a whole new generation of people. But this is a topic I'll explore more in a future video. The acting, I like it. I really like the acting of this movie. Some people don't, but I really like the acting of this movie. Like they look like they were having so much fun. And maybe it's also maybe a set of things like the script, the direction, and everything just fits perfectly. You know, it just, the characters are great and the actors look like they were having fun. The script is great, so everything came together to. I really like that. So now I'm gonna make 4 points that for me are the high points of this movie. Cinderella, she's that sweet and kind girl, you know, and at the same time she's still empowered, you know. I saw many critics about her of why she wouldn't leave the house and all that, but I think the people that made these critics, they didn't take into consideration that Cinderella was trapped in an abusive relationship with the only people that one day she could have called family. That's some heavy stuff. And if she left, where would she go? You know, I think that's what was going on in her head when she, you know, why she didn't left. Like, where would she go? She would leave her family's home? It's, you know, it's some heavy stuff. And even with all of this, she was still very resilient. And when the stepmother, when Lady Tremaine came and menaced her to do that once again, to control her, to manipulate her once again, but now to hurt other people, she was like, no, she stood her ground. She said she wouldn't let herself be controlled again, and in consequence, she became a prisoner in her own home. Poor girl, she's so nice. Poor girl. Anyway, and I really like how this movie in general make her strong and empowered, but it still make her kind. You know, she's nice, she's kind, she's delicate, but she's still strong. Like, this can happen. You know, you don't have to be like a macho man to be a strong woman. You don't need that. You don't need to be a man, you know, to be a strong woman. There is this entire stereotype of what makes someone strong, and it's usually like masculine things. And anyway, I like how they did that in this movie. And what's the second topic? Oh, the prince. Oh my god, the prince. Guys, he's an actual character this time. Like, he's an actual character this time. He has flaws, he has aspirations, he has dreams and fears, and it's so great. I think the only other time I saw Prince Charming have Disney's Prince Charming having a personality, it was in the Cinderella 3 movie. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It's so good. It's hilarious, and he's the best thing in that movie. I'm making an entire video about that. And there is no fragile masculinity here, you know. When Cinderella talks about her thoughts and opinions, he listens and respects her, and he doesn't try to impose his own opinions. He has a lot of respect for her, and I think that's really sweet of him. I love his last scene with his dad, because we see a scene where none of them were afraid of being vulnerable and open up with each other. You know, it is sad, but it's so beautiful to see a father and a son, and they were being vulnerable and really talking, and that was such a good scene. And another detail. It's a detail in more to the end of the movie, when he declares his love for the mysterious princess, and he said that if she wants to, she could get married to him. This is such an important detail. It's just a small thing, but if she wants to, she can marry him. Like, he was asking, he wasn't imposing. And I think he used the shoe, the slipper, more of an excuse, you know, because I think he deserved to know if she liked him or not, because they built a strong connection, and he deserved to know if she wanted to marry him or not, because if she didn't want to marry him, he could go on with his life. I think he would be super okay if when he found her, she had said no, and he would be like, okay, then I will move on with my life. He deserved to know who she really was and if she loved him or not. I think that. Next one. 3. Character introductions. They're great. The character introductions in this movie are perfect. Are so great. For me, I think that. But every scene a new character appears, the soundtrack, the costuming, the camera movements, the dialogue, the script, the acting, you just know who the character is, who's going to be. Just for the first scene, like, you know the character. This is such an important thing when you introduce a character, you know, to the public. I really like that. They made a really good character introduction for everyone in this movie. I love it. Like, they use this first few minutes to make the audience know their characters. This is great. And speaking of dialogue, for the dialogues of this movie, every line of dialogue, it contributes for the storyline. It doesn't, it isn't just throwing there. Every line matters. Every line makes the narrative stronger, and this is so great. Like the entire relationship of Cinderella with the prince was improved from the original one for this one because of the dialogue. The scene where they know each other, like they have built such a strong connection from that because in those few lines they could understand better of this his history of that person, of who they were and how their life was and what they think about the world. And my camera just died while I was filming, so anyway, the entire relationship of Cinderella with the prince is improved for for the dialogue because that scene where they met, it's such an important scene because they really had the chance to know each other, you know, their ambitions, their story, who they were, and it's in the details. This movie isn't perfect. It also has its defects. The narration really wasn't necessary. I really don't like the narration, and I also didn't like the construction of the stepsisters. To be honest, they didn't have much of personality. I guess they wanted to be faithful to the original, but I don't like them. They hadn't any personality. I also would like to see at least one scene with Cinderella's father and late Tremaine because when he talks about getting married again in the beginning of the movie, it really looks like he likes her. He really thinks she can make him happy again after all these years alone. And I really like to see interaction between them, you know. Show me why he decided to marry her. Why he even likes her. Why? Tell me why. Focus. Just a pause before we continue. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe, only if you want to, please. Anyway, it's a perfect movie. Nah, it isn't. It doesn't have a big story, plot twists, or you know, anything that will blow your mind, invert your expectations. No, there isn't any of that. But it's a movie that makes me happy. It makes me feel like I'm in a fairy tale. It makes me feel like a little kid again watching fairy tale movies, and it makes me warm inside. It's a really cute movie. I like it. It makes me happy. And honestly, it's okay. Not every movie needs to be a big movie with big plot twists and all that. No, some movies can be just good, you know? And like there's a magic in the movie, but also has its feet on the ground, you know. It shows that things are almost never pretty, but if you have good friends and if you have courage and if you're kind, you can find your happy ending. I like that in a movie. And like things didn't simply get sold because of magic. The message here is about accepting people for who they are, and love and kindness are free. There's some good messages in this movie, okay? And I think one thing that makes this movie works is because the original Cinderella, it's from many decades ago, you know, like decades. This movie, guys, this movie is from the 50s. Like, it's old. So, like, the hand-drawn animation will always be chef's kiss. But this movie's old. Like, I don't connect with these stories as much as I connected with Encanto. Like, Encanto really pulled my strings, like, it's so good. I really connected with that movie. But the old Cinderella, I don't really connected with that story anymore. And I think that's where Disney should invest in when making live actions. Pick these old stories, the ones that are already fading, that they're losing their colors, you know. So when something's fading and you have to renew it, that's the point. You don't have to. I really hate the idea of a tangled live action. I don't think like movies like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast needed remakes because they're still new. Every kid that knows Disney is still probably watch those movies. You know, if you grown up watching Disney, you probably, no matter your age, like obviously if you're born like in the 90s and stuff, no matter your age, you probably grown up watching Beauty and the Beast and Lion King. So it's still fresh in our minds. So it doesn't need a remake. Like, it's older, but it doesn't need one. But that's why I think Cinderella and Mowgli are the best live actions Disney made, because they picked stories that the new audience, we don't connect with these old stories anymore, and that's why Maleficent was so good. And I think they should invest in that and not like in movies that are still recent. Like, we don't need a Beauty and the Beast and a Tangled new version, because it is still so fresh in my mind. We don't need that. And I really think they should invest in like Peter Pan, the first one, because it didn't age very well. Like, it really didn't age very well. You know what I mean? Jeez. Or the Alice in Wonderland. But I know, there is the Tim Burton version, but I'm talking about like, you know, making about tiny Alice, and when she first met the Wonderland. You know, these old stories, I think they have so much potential. Or you could make live actions of forgotten movies like Treasure Planet and Atlantis and Brother Bear. Those are such good movies, but they were completely forgotten. They didn't make much money, I guess. And like, my generation really likes Treasure Planet. You could make a very beautiful movie and attract a new audience. And I really want a live action adaptation for Treasure Planet. I really like it. Please. And anyway, I got carried away. I'm gonna make an entire video talking about my problem with Disney's live actions. I mean, I think some of them are really good. I really enjoy watching them, but we don't need adapt every single movie. I don't know. I'm gonna make an entire video about that. And tell me in the comments, what do you think about all of this, about these live actions, about Cinderella, and your opinion about it. I really wanna know. And that's it for today. Bye!